Hello and welcome back. This video will evaluate the influence of cabinet members. Let's get to it. So first of all, the cabinet includes basically everyone who's really important to the president. The cabinet includes the 15 secretaries, and whenever you think of a secretary, when we're talking about the cabinet, don't think about like a secretary in an office or in a school. Think about people that are essentially like they're the heads of their own departments. Okay, so it includes 15 secretaries. It also includes the vice president, and other top cabinet or other top officials are also included in the cabinet. So think about like the chief of staff or the like the top senior advisors to the president. The cabinet members, in order to become part of the cabinet, are approved or nominated by the president and are then approved by Congress, specifically the Senate. Okay, and right now, in our current administration, the cabinet members are in the process of still being confirmed. Okay. So the role of the cabinet, basically their main job is to advise the president, and they meet whenever the president calls them. The cabinet has evolved into a much more influential role in recent years than it had been in the past. The first cabinet was actually called by George Washington. It only included a handful of people. And it's also interesting to note that nowhere in the Constitution does it say anything about a cabinet. It just says that the president can basically create a group of advisors if he feels like he needs to. So the historical cabinet, basically, we've got strong presidents and we've got weak presidents. Some stronger presidents don't rely on their cabinet at all. Other stronger presidents realize, it's probably best if I get other opinions before I just go and make decisions. So they do rely on their cabinet. Weak presidents typically will, kind of sit back and let their cabinet members do whatever they want to do. The kitchen cabinet, and you'll probably remember this from your vocabulary and other activities. The kitchen cabinet was actually used by a guy named Andrew Jackson. You may have heard of him. And the kitchen cabinet was basically a group of people that Andrew Jackson, like a group of his really good friends, that he relied on for advice. Andrew Jackson was one of those people who really didn't use his cabinet a whole heck of a lot. He just relied more on his family and his friends. And the group of people that advised President Jackson were called the kitchen cabinet for a couple of different reasons. Supposedly, they met in the White House kitchen. Okay, supposedly they came in through like the kitchen door. And they were also called the kitchen cabinet because it was a really informal group, basically just friends. Another guy who you may have heard of, FDR, used what he called the brain trust. Okay, so FDR was one of those strong presidents that also relied on his cabinet to make decisions and things like that. But he also had another group of people that he relied on to help him as well. And this brain trust included lawyers, scientists, professors, basically a whole lot of smart people that FDR could kind of pick their brains whenever he was going to make important decisions. So we also have a small group of cabinet members who are going to be really, really, really important, very influential for the president. And these are the oldest cabinet positions, okay? And they're called the inner cabinet. And this includes the Department of State, Defense, Treasury, and the Attorney General. And like I said, these were the first cabinet level positions. And previously, the Secretary of Defense, he was actually called the Secretary of War, and President Truman actually changed the name of that department after World War II because he didn't want us to be so focused on war, okay? And also, it's important to know that most presidents rely more on their family and friends for advice, more so than their appointed cabinet. And if you think about it, you probably would too. You're probably going to rely on people that you trust and that you know if you would ever become president. If you have any questions, let me know.